All right, been a while between these, just because you've been out in Australia. We've been out working on a little project out this way.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. So,
yeah. It's quite a long way away, Australia, isn't it?
yeah, it takes a while from
It
where
does
you
take
are.
a
Yeah,
while, mate. Yeah, yeah. So, how long was it there for? Was it a week?
yeah, a bit over a week, I think. Yeah,
Bit over a week? Yeah. No, that was a good time. That was a good time. Yeah. It was interesting to see the concept that you put together for that. I like that. I think it's. I saw the original couple that you did, and they made for very good TV. But
yeah,
they didn't tick the boxes that I personally would have liked the
yeah,
first few seasons. Whereas, as we discussed this one, I thought did tick those boxes
yeah,
as much as we could
yeah.
within the constraints of a TV slash
Yeah.
YouTube show.
That was the
Um,
hard bit. Trying to mix, like, as both of us wanted to have an educational perspective and make that the focus. But
oh
by the same token, we still want people to be able to watch it. So to try and juggle that was probably the most challenging of all. But
yeah,
I'm the same as you. Like I'm not really fussed by likes and views and that kind of thing. It's more about the content than anything else. And I think, yeah, what we did, we really hit home with that. I think we did
well, there's a
cover a
good
lot.
balance.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I would be the first person to put my hands up and say I would make the worst movie fight choreographer ever. It would
yeah,
just be. I don't think I'd keep my job very long, to be quite
yeah, yeah,
honest. The director would come to me and say, "So, Mick, what we got in mind for the first fight?" And I says, "Oh, well, he's a headbutt followed by three punches to the head, and then he stamp on the guy gets stamped on, and be like, oh yeah,
yeah,
that's good, brutal, brutal. That's what we want. What's the second fight? Well, that'd be like a headbutt followed by a few punches and then a stamp on there.
yeah,
Isn't that a bit like the first fight? Yeah, but that works, you know.
yeah.
And I don't think I'd be keeping that job very long personally, And it's not my thing. The
No,
aesthetics side of it is not my thing, but it's a TV show, is the way I
yeah,
look at it. So there has to be something there, And
yeah,
I'm a big lover of movies, and you've the suspension of disbelief, and it can't all be 100% absolutely realistic.
no,
You know, it's a video game, isn't it? Is what it is.
yeah,
So how do we get the most out of it? I thought I think we did a fairly good job. I think we
yeah,
ticked certain boxes. I think we
yeah,
highlighted that one of the first few seasons was there's always going to be a big fight. It's just a matter of looking at your watch. When's the big fight going to happen?
yeah,
So is that really self defense? You know,
yeah,
it's not. And
no,
I think we had a few surprises on there where people got scored higher for making the right decision rather than just diving in there like a superhero and having a big fight.
yeah,
And I thought that was important, to
yeah,
be quite
definitely.
honest.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
I think our target audience is different as well for the first two seasons. The first two seasons are just, sit back with your popcorn and enjoy it. This,
yeah,
we wanted people to think about it and wanted to show people the right way to go about training and doing this training. So I think the first two seasons was an introduction to everyone. Like there's a lot of people who don't know about that sort of training. This time we showed them how to do it and how to do it safely, how to do
yeah.
it the right way, and how to achieve the objectives that we had set
Well,
aside for each of the things.
I think the classic analogy is, like a kid crossing the road, isn't it? If you're going to teach that kid to cross the road, it shouldn't really be focused on what happens when the car hits him. You know,
No, yeah,
that's it's exciting. I mean, the wrong kind of exciting, to be quite honest, if you're the kid anyway, at least. But
yeah,
it's all about, like, are you crossing the road in the right place, and are you paying attention while you're crossing the road? And it's that whole interaction between that awareness you've got, the assessment, and then the action. You
yeah,
know, and sometimes the best action is just to not step off the curb.
yeah,
That's the action you should take.
yeah,
Because it's still an action. It's still a decision, rather than, oh well, we'll see.
yeah,
Hold my beer. That's the kind of, not that kids should be drinking, but
yeah,
that's the wrong attitude, I think. Great TV to watch, though.
yeah,
We all like those movies, but
yeah,
I just wanted to get into that educational, like you say.
yeah,
It's all what is it, edutainment or something they call it now, don't they?
yeah,
Education and a bit of entertainment. I thought that
yep,
was good,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, rather than why have all those random guys just suddenly started fighting?
yeah. Yeah.
on a bus or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay,
Let's set the context. And that's the thing too. After filming it, I stopped for a moment and thought to myself, I'd really like to see a series without martial artists. Like I'd like to see your average person navigate through all these challenges and see what they come up with. I think having it, you know, basically all martial artists sort of closes it down quite a bit of,
well,
different things that people could
yeah,
do. And yeah,
because you've always got the old saying now, haven't you? If every problem, if all you've got is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. So you're all, martial arts guys are usually looking, as I just said, when's the fight?
yeah,
You know, it's like, yeah, 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 I see all that, but when's the fight?
yeah,
Rather than if you don't have that in your toolbox, then, and a lot of people don't, or if they've got a massive physical disparity, if they're tiny and they're not particularly strong, yeah, they don't have that maybe in them. So what is their workaround to that?
yeah, yeah,
Because that's what you're looking for, isn't it? You're looking at problem solving. Fighting is problem solving,
yeah,
and you solve problems with the resources you have at hand.
yeah,
And if you've got less resources, then it doesn't mean to say that the problem shouldn't get solved, but it's going to be a lot more
yeah,
difficult, and solved in a different way, perhaps. Yeah,
yeah, for sure. And just, I think what we would see in that instance is probably some really clever things. I just, solving everything with a spinning back kick or whatever, just
yeah,
it's not what the real world's like. Like, as you know, working where you were and where I do as well, 99% of the people that I come into contact with can't fight. They
sure,
cannot fight. They cannot do all the things that you would have seen in season one and two. So now they have to solve it in another way. And that's kind of, I think it's would be more useful as a resource to the general public. That's the way I'd like to see it go, just to
mm,
branch out and different people from different walks of life who have different skill sets and various other things. And yeah, a female one, like I just think as well, the way we sort of structured this one, we could have had half the cast as female. Sure, we would
sure.
change final fights and whatnot, but that would have had probably just as much success
What you
navigating
mean,
through
like
what
your
we gave them.
logo? You mean like your
Yeah,
logo
yeah,
behind you?
exactly. That was the intention. Yeah, yeah.
The fireman, and is he a chef or something? I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
okay.
so. I just said just people in all different workplaces that don't look
Yeah,
like fighters, but they're making a fist, I guess. So fail
it'd be
fail there.
interesting.
But yeah,
It'd be interesting. I think it would lead us down the. We had a few scenarios in this series that's going to come out that completely devoid of any fighting,
yeah,
but were hugely important nonetheless.
yeah, yeah,
If
definitely.
if not, you could argue more important,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah.
Like I say,
There was
back to the crossing the road scenario, it's like, what's more important? Learning a few roles and absorbing impact that might work if the car's only going pretty slow or whatever, or having the ability to not get fucking hit by a car.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, seeing a problem way before it develops and taking an alternative path. You know,
yeah, yeah,
it'd be like watching a horror movie, wouldn't it? There's always a point in a horror movie where somebody does something stupid, and
yeah,
then the movie gets interesting. But
yeah,
if you kind of had a fast forward and a remote control, you could fast forward to where that bit was and go, ooh, and then rewind it, and then rather than going right, you go left.
yeah,
That's it's a concept I teach in a few courses. Is not to think now, but to think next. Where
yeah,
could this go?
yeah,
And then if you can extrapolate that bad situation from that decision, you go, yeah, let's not do that thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And we,
and
yeah, we
that's
did see
more
a bit of
important,
that.
to be quite honest, because that everybody could do that.
Yeah,
Because it's a software thing, isn't it?
yeah,
People might not have the hardware, but they can certainly run better software. You
yeah.
know, yeah,
And the guys that competed, like all of them are far more talented and skillful than the people I teach on a daily basis.
yeah, sure,
Like I said, they walk in, they come in to do a course for a day. They probably do about 2 hours worth of physical that's not great. And then they're expected to be able to go out and take care of themselves. So that's where, again, when we were talking about all the soft skills being the priority, I was
yeah,
sold. I just thought, yeah, that's where the real learning takes place. That's where we can reach more people, and this can be much more beneficial than,
yeah,
watching someone do a spinning back kick to a knife. That's cool. As you said, great visually. I rewound it a couple times and watched it in slow motion. Thought that's really good, but of all the people I come into contact with, not many people can throw a kick like that, if any. So
Plus,
yeah,
also there's the whole scenario of could that same person do it again?
yeah,
There's that,
yeah,
it's like because people will often come out with some amazing anecdote to prove anything. And
yeah,
with anecdotal evidence, you can prove everything. You can prove that going from the UK to the US by rowing boat is viable
yeah,
because there is anecdotal evidence of somebody doing that.
yeah,
But you can prove anything.
yeah.
I've got video of it's a famous one of my friend Hawk teaching a knife seminar. I forget where it is, and he does a disarm, and the knife, the aluminium training knife, flies up in the air and lands in his pocket. You know, so is that now a new technique? Which
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
anecdotal evidence will prove anything. So someone will always come out, yeah, but, and it's like, okay, but could that guy do that same thing then again? Because if that's not possible, it shouldn't be taught. It's not if you can't codify it and replicate it, don't teach it. You
yeah,
know, don't teach things that you did once in a fight as if it's a viable means now. I think there's a lot of that about, you know,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
on seminars.
Yeah. And sample size, that's one of the biggest things I sort of harp on as well, where I speak to people and they go, "Oh, I used this once, 10 years
Yeah,
ago." And I'm
come
like,
on.
"Okay, you used it once. The scientific method, you
Yeah,
require
yeah,
a whole
yeah,
lot more than that, than just one example." So,
yeah, yeah. It's
it's
absolutely. I mean, yes,
yeah,
definitely, and it's you don't have to be a scientist to know that. I
yeah,
mean, we claim that we borrow things from science, and in reality, we just get pointed at certain directions by the scientists because what we do isn't science. It can't be. There's too many variables. Where's the control group? I can't throw the same punch twice.
yeah,
Nobody can. It's always going to be something different going on. So we can, you don't need to be a scientist to figure out that if you've just done something once, it could be a fluke.
yeah,
I mean, you watch me play pool. You think, first couple of shots, you'll think this guy knows what he's doing. I'm saying, wait and see, and you'll soon realise that I really don't.
yeah,
I just pulled out a few fluke shots earlier on when there's lots of balls on the table, and then
yeah.
soon you'll realise I'm absolutely shocking at it. It's it's you don't have to be a scientist to figure that one out, do you?
Nah, that sounds like when I was a PE teacher, I chose my battles, what I'd do in front of people. And there's a couple sports I'm pretty good at, and I'd always, if I had the chance, I'd do those. I hate soccer or football, as you call it. Hate it. Hate that game. And I only ever kicked the ball once in front of anyone, and I happened to kick it, and it curved right around and went in, and everyone thought I was this awesome soccer player, and I left it
That'll
at that.
do.
Never kicked the
That'll
ball
do.
again.
Yeah.
That was
Quit while you're
my,
ahead.
yeah,
Quit while you're ahead. As an instructor, demo, always quit while you're ahead. Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. But it's good to show a blooper reel now and again to say, look, because you can use that to prove all kinds of things. The blooper reel does prove that even monkeys still fall out of trees. You know what I mean?
That's it.
So,
Yeah.
manage your expectations sometimes.
Oh,
Yes.
100%. What was it? The US relay team that dropped the baton a couple of years ago at the Olympics? The world champions. It's
Yeah.
yeah. The best make mistakes and the worst do some good things from time to time. And
Well, you should be somehow building that into your training anyway. There should be some contingency planning for the sun's not always going to shine on me in this. I mean,
yeah,
that's why we try so hard, don't we, in the training to train somehow in the hole. Because whatever we can replicate, we can't replicate really the same stress of somebody potentially getting badly hurt. You know,
no,
we can hint at it, but you're not going to go to hospital. But you know that John you're sparring with, he's going to stop when you get beat.
yeah, yeah,
So whatever we can replicate physically and mentally, we can't replicate that emotional consequence of we're going to get hurt, killed here. So
no,
everything else we can do, we can overload the other stuff. So you want to train in the hole a little bit, you
yeah,
know. So there should always be contingencies built in. You can't always expect what happens if that punch, you can't expect everything to work. What happens if the punch misses? Now what
yeah,
would you do?
yeah,
That is the best kick in the world, but you might miss. What now?
yeah,
Etc. etc. And you do see people who train without that because the assumption level is this will definitely put a man down.
yeah.
And
Oh, yeah,
I can disagree with that. I've seen more injuries than I'd like to in various contexts, and I'll see what what hasn't put guys down, and it's quite extreme sometimes.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, quite extreme. Um, so that's always a big thing. Should always train. You know, what if?
yeah,
You know, am I always going to hit? No. There's a reason why. You know, firearms have got large magazine capacity, and it's not because you expect to, shoot 17 people. It's
yeah.
because that one guy needs more than one bullet. So it's
Yeah.
things like that.
And that's the
It's an
interesting
important.
thing that brings us back to the series, particularly season 1 and 2, was I was adamant about it has to be a good shot for the attackers to drop off. And then there was all this, oh no, that would have knocked this person out. But it's like, well, hang on a sec. The guy that performed the technique is 70 kilos, and the guy that was on the receiving end is like 95. It's a middleweight hitting a heavyweight. It doesn't have the same effect. So I always stressed I wanted that. And in season 1 and 2, just that yeah, let's just assume it doesn't work, because the last thing I
Yeah, but
wanted to
look,
do was to touch karate or something like that, where you
but we
just
talk
touch them and
about
it's a point.
talk about anecdotal training again. Then it's like, well, have you not seen the anecdotes in boxing and MMA? Not everybody gets knocked out with every shot.
No.
I mean, if you talk about anecdotal evidence, we can prove that Mike Tyson can't punch hard because
Yeah.
I could find how many videos of him banging someone in the head and the guy hasn't fallen down.
Yeah.
It's it's a silly argument, really, isn't it? That
Yeah.
that would have definitely knocked him out. It says, well, what if it didn't? Why don't we just play it like it didn't?
Yeah.
You know? Because again, I put helmets on people that are worth a lot of money and they absorb a lot of shock. And people will say, yeah, but without the helmet. And I says, yeah, but he's wearing a helmet. So I tell you what, why don't we play it out that it's just made harder because of the helmet? So you've got to hit better.
Yeah.
You know, again, it's another handicap you've got, and it will help you that because okay, we could take the helmets off, but then it's a real fight, so then that will change everything as well and the stress levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's all a balancing act,
And it is. Yeah. And you could assume that it's George Foreman, RIP. I think he was one of the goats, but you hit him in the head. I dare say I could punch him in the head all day, and he's just going to walk at me. He's going to walk through it. So
And again,
why
and
not
as
train
you
for
as you
that?
know as well, it's not so much what gets hit or how it gets hit; it's what's going on at the time it gets hit.
Mm.
It's like was the guy coming out of a slip and he's not quite looking and his neck's a bit relaxed.
Yeah.
Takes a lot less to knock that guy out than you can have a free shot at someone's head, like a penalty shot, and the
Yeah.
guy will take it because his
Yep.
neck's all braced, everything like that. So, and that's why I moved away from all those devices that measure punching power because they can't capture what's going on at the moment because some punches hit harder than other punches, but the other punch does more damage
Yeah.
because of what was going on in that man's body when you hit. And there's just too many variables.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
again, when you see those devices, and I think they're a lot of fun, and I've got a few in my garage, that I don't use anymore, but you can game them to a point.
Yeah.
But the big thing for me is, all right, on that number score, then, if we're scoring, like the one in the arcades where you hit it, and it's a big thing on TikTok or whatever at the
Yeah.
moment. People are hitting those things. They go up to 999. But from 0 to 999, at what point are you knocking a man out? What's the number?
Yeah.
Is the one. And it makes it's a game. It makes it a game because without that, that's the important number, isn't it? At what point is it an effective punch and at what point isn't it? Because some of those ones that score 200 against the right target will do more damage than some of the ones that score 900.
Yeah.
Because it all depends on what that guy was doing at the time. Was he ready for the shot? Was he braced for it? Was he this? Was he that? So I'm less interested in those than I used to be.
Yeah.
You know, I think the best feedback is usually a man holding a pad saying yes or no. That
Yeah.
was a good one. That wasn't personally.
Yeah.
You know,
Or somebody's head.
well, no.
If you don't have an alternative. Yeah.
I hope that's a long way behind me. I hope now, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, that's it.